All right, now we're talking about 5G. 5G is exciting because, in just the aspect that for live streaming, particularly IRL live streaming, I think 5G will revolutionize live streaming. From what I understand, it's like 10 times more powerful than 4G. So, I would assume that with 5G, you won't even need a live view or like any other kind of like modem setup. I don't know, maybe like some kind of a encoder attachment, possibly. But from what I understand, 5G is very, very powerful, and there's a negative side to that. It's a strong electromagnetic frequency. We are basically electric entities. We are made of energy at the smallest level. So, and we're also made of water. We're like 80% water. Human beings are like 80% water. And our DNA acts as kind of like an antenna. So all these electromagnetic frequencies and radiation can get picked up by our body and absorbed by our body. And, it's my belief that, if we are reckless with our wireless technology, that we could really cause some issues as far as like cancer and other health defects. There's been studies that, admit that if, you can give a child a tumor if they use a phone before they're up to their head, before their brain has fully developed. That could stunt their brain growth or give them cancer, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things, and the thing is about 5G is they haven't researched the effects of it, so they're just throwing it out there because they don't want to get caught. The companies don't want to get caught behind red tape. So they feel like it's best for like the advancement of the economy and technology to just throw it out there, and then if there's a problem, maybe fix it later. But they're not going to fix anything. It's just it's a danger, and I feel, and we're gonna parse through this a little bit. We're not gonna watch this whole video, but we're gonna try to get the key points out of this.
Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you once again from beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. And I'm currently joined by the one and only David Icke. David, thanks again for talking to me once again. Especially in 2019, in this current climate of technologies just advancing at a rapid pace, especially to the point of this global 5G network, which is what I want to talk about today. So I want to get into a little bit of the privacy issue, the health aspects of that. But before we get into that, maybe we can start off with just what is 5G, or perhaps we should start with how is it different from what we currently have, 3G and 4G?
Well, it operates on something called millimeter waves. It's an area of the spectrum that has not been used for these purposes before, and therefore the impact on people in terms of health and in terms of psychology, and that's very, very relevant, is simply not known. And it's not known in the mainstream arena, and it's not known by the artisans of the telecommunications industry. It's absolutely known by those in the shadows. And I think it was summed up, the whole thing was summed up by, I think it was a Senate hearing I saw the other day, where a Senator Blumenthal, I think, was questioning representatives of the telecommunications industry about 5G. And he asked them how much money the industry had spent on independent research into the effects of 5G on people. And that was it. Nil. Nothing. Not a cent. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why, if you go on the internet and you put in 5G and the name Wheeler, you will see a former head of the Federal Communications Commission making a presentation about 5G and actually boasting that they're not going to go down the road of regulation because it would take too long. And so that the real story of what you're doing never gets made public. Being manipulated by a level of evil that is almost impossible to comprehend, and it's a world within a world. People go about their business, go about their lives, and watch the sport and watch the game show, and we interact with energetic fields.
Here we go.
Mesh grid that is literally going to be capable of manipulating mankind's minds and emotions, or what kind of a degree are we talking about?
Well, I've been talking for a long time now, before any of this started, about what I used to call in those days the technological sub-reality. We interact with energetic fields. We live in a sea of energy, and that energy is information. If you can hijack or hack into that energetic field through technological information, which you're broadcasting through this grid, then if it's in the frequency band through which and within which the human brain processes information, then you can put perceptions, thoughts, and such like, emotional states, into the feelings, into the minds of people. And this is the idea. The brain is just a processor of information. And if you look at it, every time you think, there is an electrical process that processes that thought through the brain. Well, if you know what the different emotional and mental states are in terms of frequency, then if you broadcast those frequencies, the brain is going to pick them up and it's going to process them, and you're going to think it's coming from you. Why am I feeling like this? Why am I thinking this? I've got a number of people have said to me recently, very randomly, I keep hearing voices in my head, and so that's the potential, even without the connection through chipping, etc., and nano microchipping to artificial intelligence. But when you get to that level, then it's not a matter anymore of manipulating human perception. Artificial intelligence becomes human perception. Instead of having to control information to mold people's perceptions of reality, those perceptions are coming direct through artificial intelligence. There's no human mind involved anymore. And if anyone's going, well, that's kind of crazy and that's ridiculous and that would never happen, well, just go and have a look at the statements of Ray Kurzweil at Google, this so-called futurist. He's talking about by 2030, this process of connecting artificial intelligence to the...
And I've actually read a book by Kurzweil that talks about, the coming singularity, that he envisions a future for humanity where AI is integrated with our minds. And then at that point, basically, how do you know your own thoughts are your own? Because we're electrical human beings, and, we receive different frequencies that trigger that our brain processes into different things. Potentially, your own brain could get hacked by a certain frequency, right? So that's kind of like the argument that's they're talking about here. So there's not only possible health dangers, but also the danger of being attacked by these by this technology, being controlled by this technology. And we just looked at a patent while that video was playing that showed how the nervous system can be affected through light pulses.
The Pulse versus Playbulb Color. Both are smart light bulbs with built-in speakers and features, but each bring in a little something different to the
Smart, meaning what? That it's connected to Wi-Fi, it's connected to the internet, which means that it can spy on you.
table. Which one should you get? Well, keep watching. Starting with the Pulse by Sengled, I got the starter kit, which comes as a pair. One as the master and a second as a satellite. You can add and control up to 8 total bulbs connected together. They come in 2 styles, candy apple red or silver gray. The bulbs weigh a bit heavier than I first expected, but that's probably because it's loaded with a JBL speaker that really packs a punch. And when you have at least 2 connected
too,
together,
which means it has a microphone.
it sounds really good. Now, of course, this is no Bose 5.1, this is a speaker built into a light bulb, but I think for sound quality and clarity, they do a really nice job.
5G means that you're going to have new, stronger towers. There's already been, issues with cell phone towers causing health effects. Same thing like living near power lines and shit like that. What is this? 1.5 million
I
views.
found one of the most shocking things that I found thus far in all the inspections that I've performed for people so far. And here we are on the roof of an architecture firm in this beautiful space that this person lives in. I'm going to show you the first thing right here. Stay back. Radio frequency energy may exceed exposure limits. This person just found out recently that they have cancer, and they've actually been helping their son for the last year or so, who's 25, who also has cancer. And I'm going to show you what is behind this building, and I'm really, really shocked. So here we go. Here's this door, and we're gonna just step in here very briefly because it's really intense in here. So this is cell phone towers.
Look at that. It's unbelievable. And again, I'll show you the meter. Sitting here right outside these people's driveway. Now this is also extremely hard to believe. I've now driven down almost a full block, right next to the telephone pole, down a full block, and check this out. I'm going to show you the meter reading, and the meter is still up at 2 and 3 volts per meter in the red on the left-hand side at the peak.
Benjamin Rivas has worked on cell phone towers for 14 years.
Physically burned my hand.
The burn is a work injury you can see.
What you see here is what I would call an everyday crime.
Other problems he said caused by the towers aren't as easy to spot.
Depression, and I get headaches from time to time, and mood swings and stuff.
This is getting installed all over the country as 5G is getting built up. And, you don't have control over it. There's no way to avoid it. It's something that can do harm to you that, you have no control over. So you're just being assaulted by this technology, injured by this technology. And the only way to stop it would be to vandalize, would be to hop up on them poles and knock them shits down. That'd be the only way to prevent yourself from getting cancer and getting these health effects that they're talking about.
In my personal opinion, another crime scene. And I don't think I'm being dramatic saying this. Here's the cell phone tower. I want you to notice where this is located.
You guess a school.
Literally in the parking lot. Right next to these stores.
They put those shits on apartment buildings. Like, take a look at, whenever you walk around, wherever you live, like if it's like in a city or something like that, in particular, if you see a big apartment building and look up, you're more than likely going to see some cell phone towers because, the landlords or whatever, people who own that building, they make money from that. Like, some contractor come in and be like, hey, Verizon, like, hey, can we install this shit here? We'll pay you X amount a month to keep our cell phone towers on there. And oh shit, okay, you're gonna pay me, all right, cool. But little do you know that it can affect your health.
Working in these stores, and eating in these restaurants all day long, and there's a cell phone tower right there that's hitting 1,000 microwatts per square meter, depending on the pulses that are coming off the tower. I'm across the street, as you can see. I wouldn't even want to guess what the radiation exposure is inside of those stores there. And I have the meter set on average, which you can see here it says RMS, which means microwatts per square meter average power density. This is 800, 900 microwatts per square meter. Goes even higher. Once again,
I'm gonna let this play. I'll be right back. I gotta bring my dog in and give him some food real quick.
biological effects start at 3.4 to 6 microwatts per square meter average power density.
52-year-old Sanjay Kasliwal is counting the days now. Incurable brain cancer due to radiation from mobile phone towers in his neighborhood has reduced life to little more. His brother has been termed luckier, sent to the US for brain surgery, but both of them know hope fades.
I have written to all possible government offices to find out what sort of control are they doing or what sort of an audit is being done, and it seems everything falls on deaf ears. Nobody is concerned.
Experts say the area the two men live in faces radiation from mobile phone towers equivalent to living in a microwave oven 19 minutes a day.
See, the levels were somewhere between -18 to -22 to 20 dBm also over here, and these radiation levels are very high for prolonged exposure, almost about 100 times higher than what is recommended for continuous safe exposure. And there are 2 cancer cases which have been reported in this house. There's even a dog has got cancer.
It's kind of interesting when cell phone tower workers are telling you that they have headaches, that they have brain cancer, that they have all these health issues throughout the day, where they get these headaches or blurry vision. Why would so many of these guys have these seemingly often problems like this? You would think that if there was nothing really bad about cell phone towers, that obviously those who would work on these towers would be fine. But instead you hear something quite different. And with the readouts with this, 1,000 plus microwatts per square meter measured near one of these cell phone towers, when it only takes about 10 microwatts to even have any effect on you. So we're talking 100 times the threshold for where it actually can cause harm to a person. So it's very interesting. Some people have mentioned that when they've lived near cell phone towers that they've had headaches and depression, and this is also something that these tower workers have mentioned as well, having even depression from doing this. So this also begs the question of whether or not these patents I've shown in a previous video really are something that is being used on some of these towers to where it can actually influence you. These frequencies that they use can cause certain types of emotions and certain types of feelings. At certain frequencies it makes you even potentially depressed feeling, and in other frequencies it can cause you to even become enraged. And why is there so many cell phone towers? And in many cases these cell phone towers, if you put your cell phone directly towards them in the range and it doesn't do anything. You go look up the cell phone tower online.
Eat your food, boy.
It says it's for this certain particular company, let's say Sprint. You go and take your phone over to it and you have no bars. It doesn't even make any sense. Or even have some of these cell phone towers multiples in a row. Why would you have so many in a row? What's the relevance of that? It's supposed to be covering certain square footage, allegedly, but instead we have them lined up near a highway. Why would they be doing that? Especially not very far apart. So it makes you kind of wonder what they're really for here.
To broadcast the entire Earth, it takes 2 kilowatts, 2 hair dryers. Now a microwave oven uses 1,000 watts or 1 kilowatt. Here's the damage 1 kilowatt can be done by somebody when they take a magnetron out of a microwave and turn it into a ray gun. This is just a small example of a low-tech weapon running on 1,000 watts. Then you have these things here, these huge towers of death. Now each row in this tower, an array, or a set of dishes or rectennas or whatever you want to call them, is connected to a cable with a maximum power output of 300,000 watts, or 300 kilowatts. That's 300 microwave ovens. We based that conservative estimate based on the gauge of the cabling that's running up to one of these arrays. They're estimated at 300,000 watts per cable. Those aren't fiber optic cables running up to those arrays. It's a thick copper gauge transmission line quality cable running up those towers. Now, if there's 10 cables, that's like 3 megawatts of power. And these cables are out there to output power to the magnetron, not for data transfer. That's an important point. These cell phone towers are weaponized. There's no other reason to have this much power running up the cables. It isn't for data.
Now, I'm not an expert. I don't know what the fuck, like the science behind this, but this guy, like, sounds like he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Data transfer. Now, FCC regulations limit normal transmission per array to about 400 watts. To put that into perspective, 1 watt from your phone can go 25 miles to the nearest tower. A 1,000 watt magnetron on a stick can blow shit up. And these towers have a 300 kilowatt power line running up to each rectenna. And who knows, there could be an amplifier at the top of these towers that steps up the power even more. The point is here, ladies and gentlemen, is that these companies like Lucent and Google could turn up the juice at any time and nuke a town. They could nuke the entire country without any warning, without anybody being able to protect themselves. They could cook them like a boiling frog in the middle of the night. This infrastructure is not only in place, it's built up with multiple levels of redundancy. Every big city has thousands of these death towers. And all that needs to happen is for an AI from Google or whoever to come in and nuke everybody at once and take over. Who out there remembers that movie Terminator? Well, Google doesn't have to send a Terminator to every door or launch a nuclear strike. It can just turn on these cell phone towers to maximum and cook everybody within the city limits within an hour. And then just send in the Terminators to mop up the countryside.
And from what I understand about microwaves is that they use very little power to begin with. So, like, if you can heat up food, if it can scramble your DNA to, scramble the molecules to heat them up with such low power, just imagine what all this fucking power can do. Alright, so that was I gotta really look into that more. That's crazy. I didn't know how, like, if that's true, like, what the hell, like, the redundancies and, like, the level of power that they're using, if it's really, like, unnecessary, like, wow, they really fucking are setting it up. They're just setting it up for just, like, the day they don't need us anymore, and just like fucking Thanos fucking snap half the fucking... Man, maybe that's a fucking, like, yo. It's like they don't have the ability yet. They don't have the technology yet. They don't have all the power stones yet. But once they have the power stones for the good of the universe or for the good of the planet, fucking snap. They could fucking literally do that. They could literally fucking Thanos half the population if they wanted to. That's crazy. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, man. I gotta rewatch Infinity War with, like, an esoteric eye on it. Holy crap. That shit just occurred to me. That the elite could just snap us out of existence once they have the AI robots to replace humanity, so they can have their robot butlers, their robot manufacturers, the fucking robot police, fucking robot everything. I mean, AI even have AI artists now, and AI journalists. This is recent news. China unveils world's first female AI news anchor, but it's AI. It's not male or female. You see the humanization?
观众朋友们，大家好，我是由新华社和搜狗公司联合培育的 AI 合成主播。从今天起，我从桌子后面走到了台前，由过去的坐着播新闻升级城战历史播报，而且丰富了手势，优化了表情，增加了更为丰富的表情和肢体动作。这一次，我也有了自己的名字新小号。升级后的我将为您带来更好的新闻体验。
大家好，我是由新华社和搜狗公司联合培育的全球首个 AI 合成女主播，我的名字叫辛小萌，我的声音和外形脱胎于新华社新媒体中心新闻主播区萌。我将会在今年全国两会期间与大家见面，我和我的搭档将为大家带来更好的新闻体验。
China is definitely on the cutting edge of tyranny, with its first AI anchor slowly replacing humanity.